Hello all, welcome back again. Today we'll be continuing with the Sketcher tutorial which we have done till circle command in the last video or in the previous video. We will share the link of the video in the description below. You can go through it and then come back again if you're interested. We'll be going through only the basics of the Sketcher. Advanced and GET level of training is available in CATIA. You can contact us if you're willing to go ahead and learn more advanced level of your Sketcher module. Now, let's begin. We have already seen how to start Sketcher. So I'm directly entering into the workbench. Under the profile command, we have covered profile, rectangle and circle. Continuing, we'll continue with spline. As you can see, spline is a joining of n number of control points or nodes. So when you click on the spline button, it shows you can keep using your left click to keep moving and create the shape you desire. Again, escape will exit the command. Since you have not constrained it, you can just left click on the selected node and start moving it wherever you like. This is either called a node or a control point. Now, a spline can also be closed. It need not be open. So if you want to create a closed spline, you can just select the spline, say right click, and it will show you the option of close spline. Again, I'll repeat that again. If you want to close a spline, create the spline as you like, click on the right click, it will show you an option which is called close spline. When you click on that, it closes the spline. Again, you can move it as per your requirement because we have not constrained the spline yet. Now, details or further more detailed tutorial on spline will be in the advanced level of your Sketcher. Now, coming to your connect. Connect is actually used to join both the splines. So I have two splines over here and assume I have another one. If I want to join these two, I can use the connect, select both the splines as I like and then join them. This is how your connect works. Again, connect has a lot more details inside it. All those will be told under your advanced level of your training in CATIA. Now, continuing, we have ellipses as well, conics and ellipses. The tab is called conic. So you know an ellipse, the center ellipse is required. As you can see, I am trying to give an ellipse. Let me put it down so it does not interfere with the other ones. I am just trying to mention the center of the ellipse, the major diameter and the minor diameter. This is your ellipse. It's not mandatory that you have to do it in that direction. You can do it in any direction. Keep using your left clicks, it will do it for you. It need not be that the first one is always a major radii. It can be a minor radii and the second one also can be a major radii. Now, let's look into the other commands. The next one is actually called a parabola. For parabola, you need to provide the focus first. So let me try to provide the focus with respect to the center with this point and towards the end of my focus point, and then give the start point of my parabola as well as the end point of my parabola. There is a certain calculation to calculate the focus. Now, same way you also have a hyperbola, but hyperbola requires focus as well as the apex distance. So let me try to take the focus first, assuming this is my focus. It will immediately ask you what is your apex. Assuming this is my apex, the hyperbola you can select using your left click, passes through the apex and creates the hyperbola. You can keep using left click to begin as well as to end. Let me repeat both of them for you just in case. Parabola by focus. First, give the focus, left click and left click. Begin the parabola, left click, and end the parabola using your left click. Same way, if you want to create a hyperbola, give the focus first for the hyperbola and then give the apex distance for the hyperbola using left clicks. Left click to begin the hyperbola and left click to end the hyperbola. Continuing, there are cones, conic shapes. There are different type of conic shapes, not only one. We'll see only one in your basic level and further in your advanced levels. So if you want to create a simple conic shape, you need to give the first point of the conic, the end point of the conic, and then the start point and the end point again. It creates a conic in between these two lines. Let me repeat that again for you. This conic is created in between two different lines by maintaining tangencies. So assuming this is the first one and this is my second one, it tries to create a conic shape in between these two. Whenever the mouse shows the red icon as you are seeing, which is actually a do not enter icon, that means that the conic shape cannot be formed. So you can just keep it there to check if the conic shape can be formed. Continuing, there are lines as well, various type of lines. A simple line is a segment. You need to mention the first point as well as the second point. Using your left click, it helps you create a line. A line need not be done in horizontal direction, it can be done in your angle direction as well. Now, if you want to repeat the line command more than once, double click on it. Double click quickly and then continue with your line command. Double click on it quickly and then I have the first line, and then the command usually does not exit, it continues. Again the command does not exit, it continues. Escape will exit the command. Whereas if you just click on it once and start making it, it exits the command by itself. Now, there are something which are called infinite lines as well. Infinite lines are basically used as center lines for reference purposes. They will not be reflected externally in your 3D model. They are only used inside your 2D sketch. Now, since they are infinite, if you keep it in a as a geometrical line, it will reflect throughout the workspace, as in an infinite line will reflect throughout the infinite workspace. Let me show you what that is. For example, I have a profile like this and I have an infinite line which I am taking this way. Now when I exit, can you see the infinite line? The infinite line will be throughout the workspace. So even if I try to fit it all in, it fits with respect to the infinite line. When I exit the workbench also, you can see the line. This reflects throughout the workspace. But if I keep this as a construction line in a construction format, it does not do that. When I exit, you can see when I again fit all in, it directly fits completely onto the screen. Like earlier, it does not remove a certain part because of the center line. Hence, the infinite lines are usually used in a construction mode rather than your geometrical mode. Again, geometrical mode, the workspace is an infinite workspace. The line is an infinite line. So, it might reflect throughout the workspace and it might create a lot of issues for you while you're doing 3D modeling. It is advisable to keep this in a construction mode at all times. Again, depends on where you are using it. So under the construction element, I would like to keep it as the line. Now, if you want to convert anything into a construction to a geometry or geometry to a construction, you can simply click on this icon in your sketch tools, which is construction/standard element. Now it's off and I have created a circle. Now I want this circle to be in a construction format. So when I select the circle, you can again change it to construction as you wish. If you keep the construction on and you start working, any profile of yours will always be in construction. If you want it to go back to standard element or to a geometrical element, Then you can select the line or any profile and click on the construction stat standard element. It will go back to your geometrical element. Geometrical elements reflect externally for your 3D workspace, whereas construction elements do not. When I exit the workbench, you can only see the line, you will not be able to see the circle. But when you want the circle also to be visible, this should not be in a construction format. Once you exit, you will be able to see. Now, continuing with lines, again I have a line which I have taken horizontal. If you want it to be vertical, you can click on vertical, which I am showing it to you on the screen, in a construction manner wherever you want to keep them. If you want it inclined, as in at an angle, you can directly use line through 2 points. Anywhere you can select both the points, it creates a line at an angle. This is your infinite lines. I'm switching off the construction mode, so I want to show you what two line tangent is, etc. The third one is actually called a bitangent line. This creates a line by maintaining tangency in between either two circles, circle and an arc, or arc and an arc. I'm showing you all the three examples of how it works. Okay. Bitangent line, in between what and what do you want it to maintain tangency? Select the first tangent profile, select the second tangent profile. It creates a line by maintaining tangency. It also does follow an order, like if I select this side as well as this side, it tries to create it that way. It depends on where you're clicking the mouse. It works as per the selection. Now, if you want to see in between circle and an arc, you can see it in between circle and an arc. If you want to see it in between arc and an arc, you can also see it in between arc and an arc. This is called a bitangent line. Now, there's something which is called a bisecting line. Bisecting line is an infinite line. If I have any two profiles like this, if I want to create a bisecting line, as in if I want to create a line half of this angle in between these two is x, assume. If I want to create a bisecting line, it will be at an angle of x by 2. So I can use a bisecting line, select in between what and what I'd like the bisecting line, it creates a bisecting line. Again, it's an infinite line. For example, assuming this and this is supposed to be a 60-degree angle, if you want an infinite line at 30 degrees, you can directly use a bisecting line and select both of them. It creates a bisecting line at 30 degrees. This is just an example. They are not really at 60 degrees. Now, if you want to create a line perpendicular to the curve or line normal to the curve, you can use the last one. Just select the line or any curve, it creates a line normal to it. Normal is perpendicular. It can also work for your circles. It also works for your arcs. Continuing. There is another command which is called an axis. Axis is widely used when you want to create a cylindrical or a spherical object. That is, using either your shaft or your groove commands, you can use your axis. Axis is always reflected externally. So if I create an axis, you can use left click, give the start point of an axis and the end point of an axis. Even the notation of the axis is dash, dash and small dash. The axis is not infinite because the cylinder or any spherical components has a definite length. We can give to that particular length only. Again, axis need not be straight. It can be at a angle, or it can be vertical. It can be any way you like. But what happens is, once you give an axis, this will be considered as your axis. The moment you give another axis, The recent one will convert itself into an axis, and the previous one will convert itself into a construction line, as you can see on the screen. This usually shouldn't happen, hence only we give on one axis. Under profile, the last one is called points. A point is a point wherein you can create it wherever you like. So you can directly select the point and click where you want. It helps you create a point. Now, a point in a construction mode is actually a simple dot. As you can see, this is a dot, this is a point. So when I exit, this is your actual geometrical point. There is also another point beside it, which is of a constructional element, which is used only inside the sketch. It does not affect anything in your 3D model. Now, if you want to go back and create a new point, you can. You can create multiple points as well. Now, like you've seen circle using coordinates, there's also another one which is called point by using coordinates, wherein you give the coordinates and say OK. It creates a point at that particular distance. Now, if you do not want this to be your default 0, 0, select your default 0, 0 and click on the coordinates. Here you will be covering, here you will be giving an option of 15 by 10. This will be considered as your 0, 0. From here you will be giving your dimensions. The same thing can be done using your polar, again like how you have seen for your circle. Assuming the radius is 30 and the angle is 60. It takes a point at 30 radii and 60 degrees. Now, assume you have a profile and you want to divide this profile into equal amounts of lengths by placing n number of points. You can use equidistant points. Any profile, if you want to divide it equally, you can just select equidistant point, select the profile. It asks you how many points would you like. The spacing is auto calculated. The length is not what I have defined yet. So it has assumed 58.135. Now let's assume I want 8 points. So it auto calculates the spacing as per equidistant and then say OK. It gives you equidistant points. Now, if you want to create an intersection of a point, for example, I have a circle. The circle is interfering with a line at this location and I want to create a point at this location. I can use an intersection point. You can just select both the profiles. It creates an intersection point. It need not be this. It can also be this way. You can select both of them. It creates an intersection point. Now, projection of a point. Projection of a point is nothing but it helps you create another point by either maintaining perpendicularity or by giving a certain angle to it. For instance, I have a point here. I want the same point to be on this line, but I want it to maintain perpendicularity. So when I say projection of a point, it will ask you to select the point first and where do you want to project it. By default, it is always perpendicular. So when I select it, it creates a perpendicularity and it creates a new point. As you can see on the screen, I have highlighted it. Furthermore, details about points and projection of a point and other commands will be only covered in your advanced level. So if you're interested in learning advanced level of CATIA or GET, which is Graduate Engineering Training course in CATIA, please feel free to contact us. Our details are given in the description below. We are also dropping the link to the previous Sketcher tutorial and we'll be covering the whole operations toolbar in the next session. Thank you.